So I guess he's not a myth after all.
Go subscribe. Link is in the description.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I have a tips video for all the solo players out there, and the things we're going to be talking about in this video have to do with obtaining components, scrap, metal frags, high quality metal, and other things that you can get from recycling items. Now, I've made videos on how to get scrap, including running down the road and collecting things in particular areas, or going on the boats and collecting things out there. But I want to take a look at it from a different aspect. So let's say you just started, you got your solo base down, and you want to work towards building main base. You either have a gun already, or you're not really worried about getting a gun. So my tip for you, if you would like to do it quickly, you can take whatever you would like out during this roam, we're going to call it, and I would suggest not really taking anything and just going out naked if you're bad at PvP. This way you're less of a target. If somebody's running by, sneaking around, they might not want to kill you per se. And then I would also recommend bringing a bag. So let's say your base was up the hill way over there. You want to kind of be near outpost just in case, and I would put your bag somewhere near outpost and just call it your like road runner's bag or something like that. So just give it a name that you know what it is. And the only things you're going to collect is boxes and low grade. And you want to do it as quickly as possible too. You don't want to spend too much time on this and then you're going to move on. If you need cloth, I'd pick it up, otherwise ignore it. You're just trying to get to the outpost as quickly as possible, collecting everything along the way that I just told you to, which is red barrels and the boxes. And the red barrels are, if you don't have low grade already, then it's just going to be used for the boat later on that we're going to take out into the water. And the water has now, oh, by the way, once you get closer to outpost, it's okay to start farming other barrels and such, as long as you don't see other players around. You have to be aware of your surroundings. But the waves have made it a little more difficult out in the waters for players to farm, and they also changed the little platform, the little raft that the barrels are on. So it's kind of annoying to farm out there now. But yeah, once you've gotten to outpost, just circle around. Outposts usually have roads all the way around them. This one has quite a bit of roads, and you can farm everything around here. Like I've shown in a previous video, you can just smack it a couple times and then put your melee away, but do not use projectiles while in the outpost, or it will target you. And then when recycling, you'll get a lot more metal frags out of it than you would think that you would. So just from 2 road signs, we're gonna get a little bit of metal frags, or sorry, high quality. You'll also get more high quality than you would expect. So let's say you farmed the road for a little bit, and a good like 20-minute run, if you don't die, you could probably get like 2 springs maybe out of a box, and like 8 to 10 road signs, maybe like 5 or 6 metal blades. You'll usually get a couple gears, maybe a fuse, a couple propane tanks. You'll always find some sheet metal, and then you'll also get some tarp. These are common things. Also, you'll probably get a couple semi-bodies and sewing kits, and obviously some rope, which will give you cloth, and the sewing kits will give you rope. So this would be an example of like a 15 to 10-minute road run, and we're just going to recycle everything that gives us metal fragments and high quality metal, and then I'll show you how it adds up quicker than you would expect. And the point of this would be to use these materials on your main base, or for crafting weapons, obviously. So the basic technique is you just gather boxes along the way to outpost, and then farm around the outpost. And if you still need more than the low grade that you collected, you could smelt up here safely. The crude oil you could refine here, and then depot and run straight to a boat where you can do the same thing out there, and you'll be safe to do so without any interruption. Usually there's nobody out there, as long as you stay away from the new monuments, the oil rigs. You'll just want to make sure that you stay away from them. So in our case, we would probably go up to this side of the map because the oil rigs are down over here, and also the barrel monuments out in the water don't really spawn in the snow regions, so you'll want to go more towards the green or deserty areas. And you'll see we've almost got a stack of metal fragments already, which can be used for a couple of walls, couple of doors, and we wouldn't really have to put too much time or effort into that. And we also wouldn't have to wait to smelt the metal fragments, which you'd also have to take a risk of going out and farming and making a lot more noise than this does. This is a stealthy way to get building materials and also scrap at the same time. So if we just go out into the water real quick, we can take a look at how we would go about using the boat to farm these rafts that are out here. And it's basically the same thing as the road. You just grab a boat and farm these monuments out here. And it seems that they've reduced the amount of them out here. It might just be the map that I'm playing on. But there's still enough red barrels around to get more low grade to continue while you're out here. And the chances of you finding scuba gear is also quite high. So if you do find a scuba tank and a mask and flippers, you could go down under the water and get those crates as well. It appears that on this map I don't have a whole lot to show you, but I just wanted to show you about how quickly it would be to do it. Since now we've got all these waves everywhere, it does make it a slightly more difficult time-wise, because you'll have to deal with the waves pulling up and stuff. You used to just be able to pull up real quick, grab and run. Now you have to take into account the waves, which isn't a huge, massive deal. You'll probably only be adding on a couple more seconds in like a 10 to 20 minute run. But it's also something to take into account. If you're being attacked, it's going to be harder to shoot. So you'll have to keep that in mind if you're going to come out into the water. PvPing out here is going to be a heck of a lot more difficult. But if you're standing on the boat instead of sitting in it, it becomes a lot more easier to shoot. So let me grab a gun here quick. So you'll see if I'm standing on the boat, it's basically like I'm standing on the ground. But if I'm in the boat, we start to rock a lot. Let me stare at the horizon so you can see. So if you do get into a fight and you think you can win it, I would stop your boat and stand on it to shoot instead of sitting in it. I'm not sure if any of you know this already, but they added they added a feature into the game to where it's easier to shoot on floating objects such as the cargo ship. So that's why when you stand on something, you have none of that up and down movement like you do when you're sitting in the boat. And when recycling, obviously you'll get like metal fragments, scrap, and you'll want to keep in mind all of the other things that give you components, such as the binoculars or shotgun traps if you're not going to use them, and they'll give you gears to recycle or use for garage doors. But this is a quick way to get metal fragments and high quality metal without smelting it or farming it, making it a nice sneaky way to gain building materials along with scrap to research items that you find along the way. Thank you all for watching. I hope you learned something from this. I've had a lot of questions still, even after making a ton of videos on this, of how you would get materials to build this type of base, or that base is way too big for a solo to build. But I'm guessing not too many people do runs like this. They're more so focused on running monuments and thinking that's how they're going to get all of their components, because whenever they go out to the road, they always die. But that's because you're out there farming every single barrel making a ton of noise when really you just need to be going for the boxes only and get some of that low grade to get a boat to go out into the water. And then out in the water, you can hit every single barrel if you so desire, but that would waste a lot of time because you could just farm all the boxes, and in the end, the boxes are going to be more profitable. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you next time.